All right, it's a very special one. Today we are sitting with two of South Africa's greatest endurance athletes, Ryan Sands and Ryno Griesel. I just want to say thank you to Bobby for making a studio available, and thank you to Elsie for recording this. Originally this was going to be a school assembly, and unfortunately we could not cater the dates that you guys had shared with us and make it work. And I think we're very privileged to be sitting here today, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be in studio with both of you gentlemen. I do want to say that if you do not know who Ryan Sands is, that there's something wrong with you, because you should know who he is. You are the first person to win all 4 races in the 4 Desert Series. You're winner of the legendary Leadville 100, champion of the Western States 100, and co-creator of Cape Town's iconic 13 Peaks Challenge. Alongside your running partner, Ryno Griesel, you set the fastest known times on some of the toughest routes on earth, the Drakensberg Grand Traverse and the Great Himalaya Trail. This isn't just about running, it's about mindset, resilience, and what it takes to push past impossible. So Ryan, welcome. Ryno, welcome. And thank you for joining us today. It's a privilege to be in your presence. And as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a school assembly, so we're going to be touching on all of what I've mentioned, but take into account that I'm hoping that what you can share with us today will be incredibly knowledgeable for my schoolboys and the boys at Pretoria Boys High School. So the first segment is really about what is trail running, because I want the boys to understand a little bit more about it. And, looking at Pretoria Boys High School, we offer 16 sports, and they're your traditional sports. So you have your hockey, your rugby, your cricket, your basketball, your soccer, athletics, table tennis, squash, climbing. So we offer quite a variety, as mentioned, but, no trail running. And I want to ask you if you could explain maybe to a grade 8 pupil or a grade 12 pupil who's never actually been on a mountain, having grown up in Pretoria, tell us a little bit what is trail running.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Really cool to be chatting today, and thanks for having us. Trail running. I guess the best way to describe it, it's any running, I guess, that's not necessarily on the road. I mean, the reason what kind of appeals to me about trail running is the adventure and the unknown. I mean, I feel like any trail, kind of your experience changes on a daily basis. Like the same trail, you could run it 4 times during a week, and every time you'll experience something different, whether it's kind of seeing a snake on the trail, or kind of being really hot conditions, or just feeling really good or not so good. So I mean, I really enjoy the unpredictability of trail running. But yeah, trail running, I mean, is essentially running off-road. Can be in the mountains, can be running in your school on trails made around the school, running across the desert. So there's just so much scope when you mention trail running. And distance wise, it can be anything. I mean, I've run a race as short as a 400 meter kind of dash up a ski slope in Canada.
Yeah.
And the longest race I've done is a 250 mile race in Arizona in the US. So the distance really kind of varies. But I guess, to relate it more to schools, I mean, I would recommend doing anything from 3-4 Ks up to like 8-9 Ks, and just, I guess, focus on being fast first, as opposed to like wanting to run 100 miles. I think in trail running there's a lot of prestige, or a lot of the more iconic races are longer, but I wouldn't recommend kind of jumping straight into those. Like, just really build up slowly, and just make sure, I think the most important thing is to find your why and actually just really enjoy yourself out there.
Okay. I like what you said there. You speak about, a 300 or 400 meter dash ranging to 250 milers. There's a lot of variety. Considering there's so much variety, why do you think trail running is so underrated in South Africa compared to, say, soccer, cricket, rugby?
Yeah, I mean, I guess trail running is a relatively new sport, and I guess just our history is rugby, soccer, or cricket. I mean, when I grew up at school, I dreamt of being like Corner Cricker. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, now that I'm a trail runner, for me, I stopped growing, so I was too small. But I guess, I mean, it's just that's kind of what we aspire to growing up. I mean, I think there's something really special about playing team sports. And you learned so much, and some of my best memories from school are playing rugby and water polo. But so, I mean, I guess trail running is a new sport. But I mean, kind of my experience from trail running is that it is an individualist sport, but you have a really strong team around you, and then just also your teammates. I mean, it's often I'm out there racing on my own, but it doesn't feel like I'm racing for just myself. There's a team around me. I'm also racing with teammates. Got a really strong camaraderie with the people I race against. So I mean, it definitely does feel more than just an individualist sport. But I guess trail running over the last 15, especially the last 5 years, has really kind of taken off, and you're seeing a lot more races, a lot more people getting out onto the mountains and the trails. So I think it's just a matter of time before it kind of really starts to follow through and become more popular at school. And I think just like a final thing about trail running, just the barrier to entry is so low. I mean, all you need to do is be able to put one foot in front of the other. You don't need to get an expensive bicycle or expensive shoes. I mean, at school level, it's really easy to get onto the trails and run barefoot, which I think is so cool about the sport.
I just want to add, I've been privileged to spend maybe 20 minutes in the car with you, both of you on the way here, and you mentioned sports icons or men that you look up to growing up as a teenager. Don't underestimate how many boys and young athletes, girls and boys alike, who look up to both of you and know that you're making an impact and a difference in growing trail running in South Africa. And
Thanks.
I might teach maths lit, but any opportunity I get to talk to the boys about individuals like you push the limit, that Red Bull documentary, I showed it to the boys in my class and said, these are South African men who are pushing the limit, pushing the envelope. I've been blown away by your humility in the car, and sitting there with you, and I'm trying to extract information out of you, and I mean, you just humbly sit there and answer these questions. So for me, you're a role model to me as well, and being in your presence is it's been quite nerve-wracking at the same time, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my morning thus far. What I do want to talk to you about a little bit is just you getting into the sport. I've heard a lot of rumors, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. You started running in your 20s, and then suddenly you're winning global races. Just talk me through what happened, how it happened, and then what lit that fuse, please.
Yeah, as I mentioned, at school I never dreamed of being a professional ultra runner. I mean, I didn't even really know trail running existed. I did a bit of cross country purely just for fitness for rugby. That was my big passion. I went to school down in Cape Town to Sax. So obviously, as you mentioned, like it was the team sports, like rugby was a big focus, and it was I think I played under 21s or under 20s at university. I played 1 year and then just got steamrolled one too many times and realized rugby, I wasn't quite gonna cut it as a rugby player. And then I guess being a student, a few years passed and I was doing my honours, and a couple of my guys I was studying with were going up to Knysna to run the Knysna half marathon, which was it was like an out of town marathon. Like, it was always a good kind of festive weekend. So I decided I was gonna join them, but pretty lastminute.com, I decided I'd also run the half marathon. So I went to enter, and unfortunately the half marathon entries had already sold out. So I guess being a student and pretty young and naive, I thought half marathon, same. At least I was still going to be up there taking part in a race. I entered the full marathon, and I mean, ran that on, I think, like 3 weeks of training, really minimal training. None of my varsity mates thought I was going to finish. I mean, I had some doubts myself, but I think for me, ended up finishing the Knysna Marathon and really enjoyed it. And I think for me, the big thing was just kind of setting myself quite a big goal and actually going out there and achieving it was kind of what really appealed to me. And then obviously, of course, just running out in the Knysna forest. I really discovered from an early age that I really enjoyed the outdoors, or more kind of not necessarily the roads. It was being out in the mountains. And then it was after the Knysna Marathon, I was still doing my honours. That I came back and joined my local running club, and a lot of the guys, because we lived on the back slopes of Table Mountain, spent a lot of time training on Table Mountain. So I joined the guys for a couple of runs and did a few local trail races. And then I remember it was one Sunday I kind of was Googling extreme trail races, and up popped this Four Deserts website. Looked at a couple of the races, and I saw Dean Karnazes, the famous American ultra runner, was busy doing the series, and I was busy reading his books. I was like, geez, how awesome would it be to go and do a race, the same race that he was doing. So I entered the Gobi Desert race without giving it too much thought. To be honest, I actually had to Google once I entered the race where the Gobi Desert actually was. Had to go to my dad and ask him for an interest-free loan to pay for the race, because it was quite expensive. So that was like, I think it was about 9 months out. But I did a lot of training for the Gobi Desert race. I mean, I kind of poured my heart and soul into it. And I think something I forgot to mention, I've always been a super competitive person, more so with myself. So I mean, whether it's like playing rugby, I probably wasn't the biggest person on the rugby field, but I felt I put everything into it. So kind of, as I mentioned, like that all or nothing person. So when I did enter the Gobi Desert race, I put everything into it. And the race itself, without going into too much detail, was kind of a life-changing experience for me. I ended up winning it, and that definitely changed my trajectory. At the time, I just left university and I was working for a property development company, and I think it was out running the Gobi Desert race that I thought, like, geez, this would be pretty incredible to be able to do this on a full-time basis. But I guess the best way, kind of like after doing the Gobi Desert race, I wanted to do it on a full-time basis, but there weren't many professional trail runners out there. So I guess it was essentially like I was applying for a job, but there was kind of no manual for the job, or there was no like idea of how to do it. I just had to kind of create this job, which I think looking back on my career now is something I'm really, really proud of. Just kind of, I guess, taking that leap of faith and really backing yourself to be able to make it happen.
Can you tell us a little bit how did you make that work?
Yeah, I mean, making it work. I think, like Dean Karnazes, spending time with Dean Karnazes, and I think we've discussed it in our chat in the car. I think having role models and people you look up to is so important, and someone like Dean Karnazes was someone I really looked up to and really aspired to, and he gave me some invaluable advice and really like mentored me in the early years. And I think it was after the second desert race I did, the Sahara Desert race. After the race, he said something to me that winning races is not necessarily going to get you sponsorships, and it's something that I really kind of took to heart from early on in my career, and realized that it's important to get results, but sponsors, there's a much bigger story to being a professional athlete, and having a social media presence for like sponsors that also want you to attend events, and there's a lot of like gear development, and just basically creating a business around yourself is so important, and can take up a lot of time. When I did finally quit my 9-to-5 job, I was actually spending like a lot more time being a professional athlete when it comes to training, planning races, events, and all the other stuff that goes into it. So it was quite a a difficult transition in terms of when I did actually quit my job. I knew I had enough money saved up to make it for like 6 months, but I actually didn't didn't have enough like sponsors on board to actually make it as a fully pro athlete. So I mean, that's where I've also got to give like a lot of credit to my dad. I think my dad's always been quite a conservative person, and when I kind of went to him one Sunday and said I'm kind of quitting my job to become a professional athlete or a professional ultra runner, where there weren't actually too many of them around, I could see his face was, I mean, he was a bit shocked and taken back, and was like, don't you think it's better just to kind of stick to your job? You're doing really well. Kind of the construction industry is about to go into recession. But I was kind of hell-bent on trying to give this a go. I mean, I always had always thought that I'd rather look back one day and having tried something and it had failed spectacularly than kind of look back one day and think like, what if I tried that? What could have been? So I think for me, it's just was about that. But like I said, my dad never once tried to kind of stop me from doing it. He was always my number one supporter, and I think that's so important. And being like a young dad now, just I think like the biggest thing I can impart with my son Max is to try to give him like the right guidance, but at the end of the day, he needs to choose what kind of makes him happy and kind of what gets him excited and passionate to wake up in the mornings and to be his best.
I love that. I mean, I didn't realize the risks that you took.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, there were 4 races. You touched on the first 2.
Yes.
You cleaned up that desert series. You won all 4.
Yes, yeah. So I was did all four races, won all 4 of them, and as I mentioned, I mean that was definitely a life-changing journey for me, or kind of definitely set me on my trajectory to kind of becoming a professional full trail runner.
What was the time frame of those races?
Yeah, I mean the first one I did was 2008. I mean the Knysna Marathon, my first marathon was 2006.
Okay.
And then first the Gobi Desert race was early in 2008, and then final desert was 2010. So it was over a 2-year period. So,
I mean, over the period of 2008 to 2010, you're obviously cleaning up, and then that obviously helped you build up a bit of a reputation and, gaining sponsors, etc., and then building that sort of repertoire that helped you become this professional trail runner on a full-time basis, which allowed you to stop this 9-to-5 gig and become a full-time athlete. So it was everything sort of coincided and everything sort of the pieces just joined, and you had that will and that drive and that belief that you could do this and make it happen, and you stuck to your guns. So respect to you.
Thanks.
Right, I want to talk about the Leadville 100. That was your first 100 miler.
Yes.
I'm just going to say that again. Your first 100 miler. You didn't just finish. What did you do, Ryan?
So my first 100 miler, the Leadville 100 miler. I think for me also getting into the sport. I don't read many books, but as I said, like some of my early books I did read was Dean Karnazes' book, and then also the book Born to Run. And I mean, they talk about the Leadville 100 miler and the Tarahumara and like just the history behind that. So I knew like that was always the first 100 miler I wanted to run. And I mean, I think that the sport was relatively new there. Like Salomon had just set up an international team. So it was really cool in essence that I think Salomon were really at the forefront of growing the sport and making it more professional in terms of our Salomon team manager. When we discussed that I would run Leadville, I think the big question mark for me was the altitude. Leadville kind of the town being at over 3,000 meters. I live at sea level. So Greg was like really cool from Salomon. It's like, what do you need? And I was like, geez, I need to kind of essentially be there for like 6 weeks beforehand or 5 weeks. Without thinking about it, that was the plan. So, I mean, I spent a lot of time there beforehand. And to be honest, looking back now, it's not the race that really... I mean, I'm very proud about the race, but I mean, if I think of my best memories, that it is more around just spending 5 or 6 weeks living in Leadville. The people I met, actually got to meet Cabela Blanco, was Micah True from the book Born to Run. Did some runs with him and his dog, Ghost Dog. So I mean, those memories are just like, yeah, things I'll cherish forever. But yeah, the race itself, I came from like the more of a multi-day background doing the desert races, and the sport was like really starting to take off. The American runners like traditionally did like a lot more, the 100 milers, and something I enjoy about like America, they're quite like outspoken and call a spade a spade. So I remember going into the race, like back then everyone had like podcasts weren't a thing then. Everyone had their little like blogs that they would write, and like all the talk was that I was gonna kind of crash and burn after 50-60 Ks. So I mean, it was just interesting going into the race. And I guess essentially I had like big expectations on my shoulders, but I guess the American guys had talked me down. But I think being South African and kind of coming from our sporting history, and I think without jumping around too much, I mean, you'd say like what's your why? And I think for me, living in South Africa and seeing hardships on a daily basis, and seeing what people have to overcome to like achieve their achievements, or what people have to overcome on a daily basis just to be able to get to work. I think it just really puts things in perspective for me, and you realize kind of what just how much I've actually got and the amazing opportunities I've had. So I mean, just kind of going forward, standing on that start line of Leadville, super proud to be South African and do whatever it takes to try and cross that finish line as fast as I could. But the race itself, I mean, started off, I actually felt absolutely terrible. A good friend of mine, Dean Leslie, who was filming the race for Salomon, I think it was after like 40 miles, I said to him, like, Brew, like, this is not good. Like, my legs are completely seizing up. And then, just something that's beautiful about ultra running and running, things just change. It's like you go through so many highs and lows, and it's just about kind of being able to ride out those low moments. And I was obviously going through a low moment, or a low patch. It was a long low patch, but got through the other side, and I started feeling good and started passing guys, and before I knew it, I was in first position. And Leadville's an out and back race. I used to run 50 miles out and 50 miles back, and at the turnaround point, I just got into first place, so morale was high. And then I was really lucky that Leadville, you're allowed to have paces, so I had some of my Salomon teammates pacing me, like Anna Frost, and we had become really good mates over the years. So she kind of really knew how to push me, and pushed myself to levels I didn't know were possible. I remember the final 20 Ks, my quads were just so blown. I mean, I could almost it was easier to run uphill than downhill. Like downhill, it was just like walking on eggshells. But cut a long story short, won the race, and something I was really proud of. But I think for me, looking back, was more the overall experience. Having my wife Vanessa there, my Salomon teammates, and even someone like Dean Leslie who was filming. But I had grown up with him from like early days of school. So just having that familiarity around me, I find it's just so important. Even like more recently, having done a lot of projects with Ryno, but then having his support out at races is invaluable. Just as I said, like just that familiarity and just people that you really trust when you kind of don't know if you can take another step.
I want to ask you something there. You spoke about verbalizing the low to the cameraman.
Yes.
Do you find that works for you? When you're going into a dark space, sometimes we internalize it. When you express it, do you find that actually assists you in getting through it? When do you decide to internalize, and when do you decide to verbalize the fact that you're experiencing a tough time?
I mean, I definitely think it's important to speak about things. I mean, even like after a race or an experience. I mean, I guess it's important, and probably like advice, if I had to give Max advice, I think often it's like men are taught to keep things in, or like just you kind of just got to get on with it. And I think it's so important to talk about things. And I mean, it's something I've learned, that like I've had a number of failures along the way, and sometimes like I'm quite harsh on myself and you want to beat yourself up, and it's like, so it's so important to talk about it. I mean, I think during the race, again, it's all like, for me, it's about like having someone there you can trust. It's like Dean, just like a simple thing of saying like, this is hard, like I'm struggling. Just having someone to say that to definitely is massive. But I think, as I said, like I always say, in like an ultra race, and I think it's in life in general, it's a person that can manage those low moments the best that ends up being the most successful. I mean, when things are going well, you're generally going according to a plan, and wouldn't say it's easy, but it's a lot easier than when things are really kind of falling apart around you. And I think that's when it's so important to stay strong mentally, and to like have a strong why, and not to panic, and be able to think on your feet and just try and fix it. Because I mean, it's often when physically I'm in those low moments, if I fall apart mentally, then generally that's the end of my race. But if I'm able to hold it together mentally and kind of use the various tools I've got to be able to keep moving forward, you're able to get through it. And I mean, I guess if you speak to like a lot of people that have been successful in life, it's not about how they've like kind of got through the good moments, it's how they've overcome like failures, and how they've gotten through the other side. And I mean, I guess it's quite cliched, but I mean, I don't see a failure as a failure. I think it's a really good way to learn and to move forward. I mean, it sucks at the time when you have a failure, but I think if you're able to talk about it and move forward, and also not get too fixated on that failure, just move on from it, learn from it, take what you like, the mistakes you've made, and move forward. I think they can be very powerful.
Okay, so you've sort of led me into what I wanted to discuss next. It's just UTMB.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have had an incredibly successful career, but like looking at UTMB, I'd say probably that's where you've learned some lessons.
Yes.
And there's a gutsy finish in 2023, and then the DNF 2018 and 2024. But you keep going back. So I wanted to ask you, like, when you strip away the noise and those attempts, what have they taught you? Not so much necessarily about pacing and fueling, but looking at sort of ego management. And you've alluded to lessons learned, but what have you learned through some of those DNFs, and why do you keep going back? I mean, I guess UTMB is the one race I've never got right. I mean, I've finished once, as you've alluded to, but definitely was far from my best race. I mean, I think there are a number of reasons, and also, I mean, if you look at the number of elite guys that drop out of the race, not to make any excuses, I mean, it's literally like throwing 50 eggs against the wall, and the 5 that don't break are the guys that have a good race. And generally there's a massive dropout because guys are just pushing themselves so hard. I mean, I think if I look at myself personally, if I'm 100% honest, I think like UTMB has got the better of me mentally a few times. And I mean, I think I failed to see that from earlier on in my career. I was like always had like some other excuse. So I mean, I'd like to think they're relatively valid excuses, but it definitely, I feel like there's other races where things have fallen apart, and it's just like kind of stopping's not an option. It's like I'm just gonna get to the finish line. Where I think a race like UTMB, because it's so competitive and there's so many eyeballs on it, you like want to be 110%. Then all of a sudden your stomach's not great and you're 80%, and you like flip, like that's just not good enough. And then like mentally I've just like, I think I've allowed it to get the better of me. So I mean, I'm happy to say, like, I think throughout my career I think I've been relatively headstrong, but I think with UTMB, especially on those earlier races, that like first race I did, I kind of wish I just kind of stuck it out for a bit longer. And especially I think just in hindsight now, seeing what, like, I mean, when I did finish in 2023, I mean, I had such a bad patch for so long that I didn't think it was possible to
to finish. I mean, essentially there were two people on route that kind of Salomon support team that kind of wouldn't give me a car ride out, so I had to keep running. I think that was a big like reason for getting through that low patch. So I mean, I wish I'd just cut a long story short, I just kind of stuck it out. But I mean, UTMB is I mean, it's a tough race. I mean, I see a lot of athletes experiencing the same, and I think people just put too much pressure on themselves, or they aren't able to deal with the pressure properly. And maybe it's also just, I think, a big learning thing for me taking out of like UTMB, and I mentioned that I did the Cocodona 250 miler this year. Yeah. But I mean, without going into that, just like a big thing for me and about my why is always doing something that excites me and not necessarily something that you feel you should do. I mean, essentially, if I felt that like I needed to do something that my dad thought I should do, I would have stayed in my job. Whereas I was like, no, flip, I'm really excited about running around the world and running in the Amazon jungle and doing something like this epic adventure. So it was something I chose. And I think for me, if the few times maybe I did do UTMB towards the end, I felt like it was something like I should do. It was becoming the biggest race. Like everyone was there. It was like kind of my nemesis. I needed to get it right, and it wasn't that like necessarily what excited me. Whereas doing Cocodona this year, I really like realized that like it's so important for me just to do what inspires me and gets me excited to wake up in the mornings.
Okay, so that's where we're heading now, is to Cocodona. All right, so counterpunch, Cocodona, the 250. So it's 250 miles, everyone, not 250K. So you took second at the Cocodona, 61 hours, 21 minutes, 4 seconds, if we're going to be precise. It's absolutely nuts. That's sleep deprivation on another level. All right. What did you execute differently there compared to UTMB? Then was there a single decision or crew call that unlocked this podium? Just talk us through that. I mean, that one, I was on my phone watching, tracking, and I remember I arrived at the Virgin Active, and my training swim partner was like, hey, have you checked what Sands is doing? It's like bloody next level. And then we got out the pool and we were still watching and following, and then all day we were chatting about it. So, I mean, you had us all hooked, and then when you did what you did, man, we were just like minds blown. So respect again there. But let's hear it from you, man.
Thanks for all the support. As I mentioned, I think Cocodona for me was like something I was really passionate about, and I'd like to be honest, I felt a bit stagnated in my racing career towards the end of last year. Like things just weren't exciting me as much, and just Cocodona seemed like this perfect blend of an epic adventure, but also in a race format. And there was like a lot of new challenges, which I mean I'd experienced before. So like the sleep deprivation, I had to look at getting your nutrition right, just training for something that long, 250 miles, but being like 408 Ks. I mean, but just the training and the build up almost felt for me as if I was doing the Gobi desert race again for the first time. It just felt so new and fresh, which was really cool. So I mean, that was really cool. I mean, probably the biggest takeout from the race, without going into too much detail, was just like the team around me. I mean, if I look back now, and I mean, very happy to have come second, but I mean, it's not what like. I mean, obviously I'm proud of it, but it's not like my big takeout. I think for me it was just like that, having the team around me, and that it was really, I mean, essentially I crossed the finish line and I was doing the running, but I think it was so much more than that, and having such really an incredible team around me with Ryno, heading up the support crew, the pacing, like he's someone like I trust with my life. So like I think really having that, and then also having some of my Salomon teammates there to crew for me, Lucy Bartholomew and Christian, who I really trust, and then a lot of the Salomon high performance team and the guys that do service to athletes, and some of them actually came in and helped pace for me for sections. So with Cocodona being such a long race, I was allowed to have paces for certain sections just to run with you, and especially for some of the back markers from a safety point of view. So just having that, it just felt like such a collective effort to get to the finish line. And to be honest, I guess like 400 kilometers is a long way. Like, and for me, it was just so important to break it down into bite-sized chunks. And I mean, how I've done everything. And I mean, I even say to people, even if you're running 5Ks, and that's the first time you're running 5Ks, just break it down into 1 kilometer chunks, or 500 meter chunks, and just focus on kind of setting those mini goals throughout the race and just ticking those off, and before you know it, you'll finish. And I mean, Cocodona was the same, just focusing on getting from one aid station to the next. And I mean, I really took my time at the aid stations to reset mentally, and I literally saw like each section as like a mini race within the bigger race. I mean, I never even thought about the finish line until I kind of got to within 40-50 Ks of the finish. So I mean, that was like kind of really, really important. But I mean the race itself was I mean, I went to places physically and mentally I've never been before. That second night was really challenging, just from a lack of sleep point of view. I was starting to hallucinate, which I mean, it's quite interesting because you're also just so fatigued. I started to think like, am I hallucinating? Is my like kind of whole body shutting down now? Just before the start of the second night, I got really wet and cold. It's normally supposed to be a hot race, but as we know, with the kind of outdoors and the mountains, things change quickly. So it was actually pretty cold most evenings and quite wet. So that was hard to manage. But I guess with any race or in life in general, it's just about being able to make the right decisions on your feet and quickly change and adapt and try not to panic. So I mean the achievement I'm really proud of. But like I say, I think it was much more about the collective effort out there. I mean, there's that African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I mean, I think that's so true. And I think what makes also like South Africa such a special place. So I mean, without jumping ahead too far, I mean, I think if it's like my advice for like young kids who are like wanting to get into the sport or just being a bit more active, is to try and get like mates to join you and keep it fun and exciting. I mean, you don't have to be the fastest or kind of run a certain time for 3Ks. Just really try and create that kind of collective spirit and get some guys to join you and just to have fun out there. And I think if you're having fun out there and you're pushing each other, but the magic will naturally happen.
We spoke about it in the car, but I think just for the listeners, your recovery after that, can you just touch on that a little bit, please? Because I mean, I can only imagine what your body went through. You spoke a couple of months recovery, but let's go through the early weeks of the recovery and how your body felt.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my legs were pretty smashed, or my whole body was pretty smashed after the race. Obviously, you don't sleep well. My one leg had completely swollen up. My family stayed at home, so I was keen to get home as quick as possible after the race. So I flew quite quickly. I mean, all within 4 days of finishing the race.
How was that flight home?
Yeah, it was long. I think I got to Heathrow, and my leg was pretty swollen. My right leg. So luckily I had long pants on because I was worried they weren't going to let me on the flight. But got home, and I think as soon as I got off my legs properly, the swelling started to come down. But I mean the recovery took a while, but I think that's, for me, it's so important. Like obviously on a high, I'd done well at the race, but it's so important just to respect the distance and respect your body. And I think that's something I've been relatively good at throughout my career, is giving myself enough time to recover and really listening to your body and just not forcing it. I mean, there's times it's been frustrating that like you want like recovery process to happen quicker. But I mean, like, your body's your body, and I think if you force it, you're just going to dig yourself into a hole. And for me, the goal is about longevity. So I think that's, I mean, important. Even if I look at my training this week, my recovery's been a bit slow. So kind of one of my long runs on the weekend, I'm like my coach and I are pushing out to a Monday. So I mean, it's so important. I know sometimes, like, you kind of get into this headspace where, cool, I want to follow something to the T, like I'm kind of letting my coach down, or I'm failing, like if I kind of push things out today. But I mean, I think that's so important. So I mean, yeah, going back to recovery, I think for me it was important to listen to my body. So I mean, it's been about 2 or 3 months of kind of minimal running, but I was still did some active recovery, did some hikes, did spend some time on the bike. So staying moving, not doing nothing at all, but just really, I think also, like, it was important to have that mental reset. Like, I put a lot into the race, so just being able to switch off, spend a bit more time with family, I mean, I think is important.
And was Max super pumped when you got home?
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing with Cocodona, there was a live feed, so he was actually on the live feed once or twice. I know the night after I finished, or I think I only finished, it was about 2 a.m. South African time. I was getting 1 or 2 messages from my wife, like, can you not just hurry up? Max needs to get to bed. So I know he didn't, like, go to school the next day. He was, like, quite pumped, and then he, like,
Does he process it all? He understands, like, what you're achieving and on what level?
I mean, I think definitely to like more so now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the beauty about having kids is that you realize that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a race. Like, it doesn't actually mean a lot. Like, I mean, it does, but I think it's, like, for him, it's important that I'm around and I'm a good dad. I mean, I can win 100 races, but if I'm not a present dad, then, I mean, it means nothing to him. So I mean, it's important to have that balance. And I think, I mean, even since having Max, it was really cool. I mean, just before I had Max, I went through a bit of a rough patch with glandular fever and kind of the confidence and maybe putting too much pressure on myself, and suddenly you have a child and you realize, she's like, there's so much more to life, or, like, there's a lot more perspectives, not just about me. And I mean, through, like, being able to rethink things, within or kind of just over a year after having Max, I won Western States, which was like a long-term goal and journey for me, and, like, it was a lot of, like, highs and lows leading up to the race. But I think that kind of really helped just kind of take the pressure off me. I mean, I feel like I've always put a certain amount of pressure on myself, but, like, when you do take the pressure off and I'm able to run for me and just be free and just kind of really enjoy it and kind of get into that, like, zone is when I do the best.
I must appreciate what you just said there, because you answered the next question, and you've spoken a little bit about Western States and perspective and sort of mindset and how it's altered over the years. So I'm going to move on to sort of the growth of the sport, if you don't mind, which we touched on in the car as well. When you first started trail running, which is like 20 years ago now, so I can't believe you're 43. You look like you're in your 30s, so you're doing well. This longevity trick of yours is working. It's still a niche sport. I said it was raw, community-driven, and was not yet commercialized. But today it's grown massively with sponsorships, global races, a lot of media attention. And as something of a purist, you've had to adapt and grow with the shift, which you spoke about earlier. But what does this evolution mean for trail running? And I'll just shoot into the second question. Looking ahead, where do you see the sport heading in the next 15 years, and then what opportunities and challenges do you think it holds for the next generation of runners?
Yeah, so I mean, it's, as I say, like, when I started the sport 18 years ago, or just over, I mean, it's crazy to see the transformation and, like, how the sport's progressed, I mean, locally and internationally. And I mean, I guess with anything, there are going to be a lot of people that say, like, oh, the good old days were better, like, when it was more pure. And now there's big sponsorship. The sport's changing, but I mean, I feel the sport's big enough to fit everyone in. So I mean, I'm all for like giving more people opportunities and making the sport more professional and more commercial. And I mean, there's like the UTMB series that kind of Ironman have gotten involved with, and for sure they've been teething issues and they've made mistakes along the way. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, their kind of overall intentions are good. But at the same time, if that's not for you, you don't want to stand on a start line of thousands of people, and you more like want to do something core, then there's a number of events out there. So yeah, I mean, I think there's scope for everything. And I mean, I've got a lot of friends that trail run, but they've got no desire to race. They love joining their kind of local running community every Tuesday and kind of going for a run and having a beer afterwards. That's for them, and that's also cool. So I mean, I think the beauty about trail running, it's more than just a sport. It's more than just about racing. It's about getting out on the mountains and kind of just experiencing that and joining a community. If you're kind of looking for a community, if you're a solo runner and you want to kind of go out there on your own, there's also like space for that. So I mean, I think that's so. I mean, the sport is moving forward at a rapid pace, but I think there's space for everyone in it. I do think it's important for kind of the athletes that have been in the sport for a long time and the role players to move the sport forward in the right direction, and to kind of honor the principles of like the origins of the sport and the roots of the sport. And I'm all for that. And I mean, even like the Salomon international team now, we've got a high performance element to the team, which is like incredible, and like amazing opportunities for all the athletes to be better and to be the best version of themselves. But I think it's like important also just to kind of remember like the roots of the sport, which is, I feel, is being done really well. So I mean, I think it's really exciting. I mean, if you look at, say, South Africa, like when I first started trail running, there was like 1 or 2 events. Now there's an event every second weekend. The amount of young people I see on the mountains is really cool and inspiring, like kind of people in their late teens, early 20s, students, and I mean, seeing what you guys are doing at Pretoria Boys High School with the trail event, I mean, I feel that's really at the forefront. And I mean, I think it's incredible to see that, and I'm really excited to see where that goes, because I mean, I think there's just so much scope for growth. And I feel it's a sport that, I mean, if we've touched on that, like boys playing cricket and rugby, I mean, I feel you can still trail run. I remember when I played rugby, I had to be fit, and essentially that's, I said, like in my high school years, did 1 or 2 cross-country events or used to run. So I mean, I feel the two can really complement each other really well. So I mean, I'd love to see kind of more schools partaking in trail running and it growing there. And I mean, also it just goes to, I feel like in South Africa we've got incredible talent. It's just like having enough opportunities. I mean, I feel in Europe a lot of the racing happens there. So for someone to go to Spain, for someone living in France to go race in Spain, it's literally just like kind of traveling from Cape Town to like Stellenbosch. It's so close, or kind of somewhere like locally in South Africa. So there's so much more racing happening, and I feel there's like so much more opportunities where, like, for South Africans, for us to go race abroad, it's really challenging to raise the funds and to train, etc. So I mean, I think if we can grow the sport at school level, I mean, I think that's kind of will really kind of what we need to do, and will really kind of help move the sport forward.
Yeah, it's a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, we're really fortunate that in 2027 we've got the Trail World Champs in Cape Town, and I mean, trail running is quite an interesting sport that I mentioned. There's so many different distances. There's mountain running. There's the Golden Trail Series. There's now the UTMB World Series. Before that, there was the Ultra Trail World Tour. So there are all these different tours. It's not really like kind of formalized. There's not like kind of one circuit. And a lot of times it's about the big like iconic races like the Leadville or the Western States or UTMB. So like the trail running world champs, I wasn't really kind of taking that seriously, but like the last two editions, like guys have really started putting a lot more emphasis into it. So I mean, I think it's an amazing opportunity for South Africa to really kind of showcase trail running and to really kind of we've got enough time now to really try and like work on putting the best possible team together to give ourselves that opportunity. And I mean also just the kind of the sport, I know going forward they kind of it's one of the nominee sports for the Olympics. So yeah, I mean there's potentially a lot of exciting I think the sport's got a really bright future as long as we look after it and kind of nurture it in the right direction.
So the third segment is these expeditions that you two guys have embarked. So Ryno Griesel has been your running partner on some insane missions. There's the Drakensberg Grand Traverse that was over 200 kilometers, if I remember correctly, non-stop. There's no trail markers. So I mean, you both feel free to speak now. What was the scariest moment out there during that expedition? Who wants to shoot first?
I'll let Ryno talk.
Yeah. You can grab a sip of water if you want.
I think in the Drakensberg, we're so blessed to have the Drakensberg in South Africa. It's a completely underrated mountain range all around the world. And it's got a very unique weather system, and the weather changes quite quickly. And during the recce's or the training sessions we did building up to actually doing the record, as well as during the record, the weather changes quite quickly. So I would say if there were any scary moments, it's purely because of you're quite vulnerable and exposed to change in weather. I mean, we were there in October before we did the actual attempt the next year in March, and we had snow and we had some proper thunderstorms and lightning that we trained in. So I think you just realize you're quite small and exposed and vulnerable in those conditions, and just to learn to respect and remember that you're just passing through something much bigger than you are.
For you?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the situation Ryno was speaking about. I mean, just to give it context, I mean, I think it was one of probably the first time I joined Ryno on a project, and as Ryno mentioned, it was a recce. But for me, I was completely out of my comfort zone. I mean, just I guess kind of coming from like running a lot of races and doing well, like you're quite confident and you back yourself in the mountains. But like suddenly when you're up there and the weather changes that quickly, I mean that for me was like an eye opener, and just realizing how kind of harsh the Drakensberg is, and just how insignificant humans can be when the weather turns. And also the Drakensberg just so remote. I mean, in Europe, often guys run into trouble. You can get to a refuge and get a chairlift down, or kind of they've got helicopters if the weather's not too bad, but the Drakensberg, you're out there on your own. So I mean that was a big eye opener for me. And I guess I mean a lot of the projects we've done, I mean often what sounds easy on paper, when you actually go out and do it, it's a lot harder. And I mean, as we were chatting in the car, I've never wanted to like necessarily throw myself into like risky situations, but I mean I think they've just happened maybe from like a certain amount of naivety. So I mean I think that's what I said, like moving forward, and even with the projects Ryno and I have done, I mean running across the Himalayas, there were a lot of mistakes we made there that I felt we took into running around Lesotho, circumnavigating Lesotho, that we took into that project. That I mean I think if we hadn't learned those lessons in Nepal or hadn't applied those in Lesotho, there's probably a good chance we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Oh really?
So yeah.
You want to talk to that a little bit more, or not really?
I want to inspire people to get into trail running, not
chase them away.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just on the dynamic between the two of you, when things go wrong, who calls the shots?
I think it's a combo. I mean, I think that's I touched on. I think like probably the biggest thing I can take out of like Ryno and my relationship. And I mean, I think we come from both like quite different backgrounds, but I think the main thing is just trust. I mean, I trust Ryno 100% with my life. So like when he makes a decision, like I know that's like the best decision, or I'm like sticking with that. And I'd like to think like vice versa. So I mean, I think we both bring different kind of kind of elements to the partnership. So yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on any more.
I think it's just in addition to that, the as you go through this journey and as our friendship grew over the years, that the trust thing is ultimately I've got his best interest at heart and vice versa. And then with that also, when you start, it's all about doing something as fast as you can. And obviously still, if you do it, there's a goal, there's a record or whatever you're chasing. But as we've done it over quite a few years now, you realize that it's not important at all. It gives you a goal because otherwise there's nothing really pushing you to go. But it's more what you learn about yourself and our friendship and how you get through all these obstacles together. Because we always joke, halfway into day one of a 24-day project, the whole plan is out the window. And then it's really just how you handle it. And what's great about the projects is how do you handle it together. We've got quite different personalities where I'm more the accountant and hasn't got nearly any of the sport talents that Ryan has. And just to touch on the point what he said earlier, is the sport's so wide, there's space for all of us. And then the better you learn to handle these challenges together, then I can maybe focus a bit more on the planning and he can handle way more when things go a little bit, like Ryan is way more chilled in handling when things don't go according to plan. And then I'll try to at least have a plan. And then somewhere halfway in the middle, I think that the best thing for us is there's never been any egos, because I think that's where it gets really dangerous when you're out in the elements, is to trust each other and really just roll with the punches. But yeah, Ryan's really good for that.
Okay, fantastic. You do make a good combo. Picked up on in the car already. On the Great Himalaya Trail, I've been asked to ask you this, the solitude moment that you ended up singing happy birthday to yourself. And apparently it has been well documented, but here we are. Apparently, Ryno, you were a kilometre or two behind him. I don't know why you went with him to sing happy birthday on his birthday. It's not good enough. But I just want to know that, okay, does this ring true, first of all? And then what did that moment actually feel like? Because I know you've run a lot on your own, but I think just the fact that you were singing happy birthday to yourself, I mean, you were out there for a number of days, 25 days on your own. What did you learn about managing loneliness on a multi-week mission?
Yeah, I mean, I guess going back to singing happy birthday, I think it's important, like with any of these projects, not to take yourself too seriously. Yeah. And I mean, I always, for sure, I mean, a number of times during the Himalayas is like, what the hell are we doing out here? We've bitten off too much that we can chew. And I mean, it's very easy to start kind of feeling sorry for yourself. And I mean, I always just say, like, you're the idiot that's got yourself into this. You need to get yourself out of this. So I mean, I guess essentially just singing happy birthday just to kind of remind yourself to not take things too seriously. I mean, that was the day after Ryno and I had made it out of the Dolpha region, which was quite a hectic stretch of mountains. And to be honest, I thought like the Dolpha region was so bad that things couldn't get any worse after that, which I was kind of wrong about that. So maybe I was quite upbeat that day. But I mean, just in general, I think the Himalayas, like just kind of going non-stop for 24, 25 days. I always say, like, you break things down into bite-sized chunks, but like when something's that big, it really kind of tested like me, like mentally. And I mean, just I think being away from like family for that long. I had a young son, so I mean, mentally that was tough. But I guess just the Himalayas, just on a daily, like there's like always something just getting thrown our way. Like you just like have a few hours like flip, okay, this is going well, this is like fun again, and then like boom, something would happen, and you just have to roll with the punches. But I mean, just in hindsight, I think I learned so much from the trip, And then, like, I mean, on a side note, I think probably the biggest takeout for me was the people of Nepal, just how kind they were. I mean, often Ryno and I would rock up in a village, and when I say a village, it's like a little mountain town of like 8 houses, and it would be like 2 a.m, and we'd knock on someone's door, and without fail they would invite us in, feed us, offer us their beds at like 2-3 in the morning, just complete random strangers.
Yeah.
And I mean, often those, I mean, there were sections in the Dolpha region where if we didn't have that, we again wouldn't have made it through. It was just too remote. So I mean, just it made me realize just those small acts of kindness, how it can make such a big difference in someone's life. And I mean, that's something I do think about a lot. And I mean, how can I do that like on a daily basis in South Africa where there is so much need? So I mean, I think that was a big takeout for me.
Okay. Ryno, I want to ask you, what was your proudest moment of that GHT?
Sure. It's such an interesting one because even when you finish, like you've got this goal for 25 days just to get to the other side of the country. And even when you finish, you don't really have this experience or a sense of achievement. You just actually just this quiet, peaceful moment of like, okay, it's done. There's no crowds, there's no people, and you finish, and that's basically where it stops. And it takes months as you process through this all to kind of get to what you're proud of. And I think the biggest thing over all the projects is the fact that, well, I guess that we're still mates and that we're still friends. In the sense that the fact that you carried each other through probably the worst moments, like we've probably seen each other that nobody else would have seen us, like you go through like really, really low moments. And I think the proudest moments is just building this relationship through all of this and having to experience with somebody multiple projects, and you have these opportunities to learn from each other and go through it. And I think that's really for me just life. It's not these big moments like you finish, it's like, okay, well, this was the goal, and like, am I supposed to feel something? But as you process, is you're really proud of like, we got through together. It was probably not the most clever idea to start with, but I think also just to be proud to try something, even though there was no guarantee of success. And afterwards, you also realize what you thought was going to be success wasn't even the success. But touching what Ryan said earlier, I think just to be brave enough to try stuff, even though you probably know it's going to be an interesting adventure, as opposed to always trying to either have things perfect or wait till you're ready, because either one is never really going to be there. So I think just being like grateful and proud that we get these opportunities and to learn from it together.
You two are planning on doing something together again, eh?
Yeah, we've got a few things in the pipeline.
Okay, good. We don't have to talk about it. I know you can't probably, but looking forward to seeing what you're going to do next. Just on mindset and psychology, Ryan, when you're at your lowest, and you're sleep deprived, cold, hungry, what do you say to yourself, to keep going? I know in the car on the way here, we spoke about different stages of your career. You've got a different why. You don't have to go into, unpack it too much, but just, maybe of your career of late, where do you go to keep yourself going? Like maybe touch on Cocodona or...
Yeah, I mean, I guess as I mentioned, like growing up, I think I've always been quite a competitive person, but like more so with myself. Like I really want to know that I've done my best. So I mean, I think in those moments it's about that. But at the same time, as I mentioned, trail running is quite an individualist sport. But at the same time, I've been incredibly lucky to have an incredible team around me, from like kind of dream givers to my sponsors, to like an incredible support team that have kind of kept me running, family, friends, and just people back home that have supported me. And South Africa, I mean, in general, I think we've got such a unique country, but I mean, I think I can draw so much from it. So, I mean, that's definitely like something that keeps me going. I mean, when I'm out there, it doesn't feel like I'm just kind of me alone. It feels like, there's more people behind me, and I think that's a big thing for me.
So, in your lowest of low, would you say that you feel like you're running for so many, that you are representing more than yourself? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I've never like officially put the green and gold on, but I mean, I do feel like I'm representing South Africa out there. and like that aside, I say like I'm representing more in like more than just kind of myself. But trying to remember my train of thought now. But I mean, it's, as I say, there's also like a certain sense just like with me wanting to know that I can cross that finish line and know that, cool, I gave it my all, whether it's good enough to be first, 10th or 100th. Like I kind of gave it my all out there. And I mean, also just, I think also just trying to think back to where I've come from. And I mean, if I look at a race like Cocodona, it was a lot of training that went into it. So just reminding myself about that. And then also just, I guess, in those low moments, backing yourself, that you can get through them. I mean, I think that's a big thing. I think as soon as you start to kind of, like, is this too hard for me? Like, am I not good enough? Then you start to unravel. So I mean, just having that confidence is so important, and just really kind of backing yourself when the chips are down.
Earlier, when you spoke about the fact that, when the Americans didn't rate, you could do some damage at Leadville.
Yes.
So I have a competition with my coach, who I said that I'm pretty sure I'm going to find some dog in Ryan Sands when I interview him, and he said he didn't think so. He said, you're a chilled Cape Townian, so he didn't think I'd find a dog here. But maybe this is the way I can discover the dog in you. When you read those blogs and they wrote you off and said, Ryan Sands will come in and we won't see him after sort of, what did they say, 40, 50 miles.
Yeah.
Did that ignite the dog in you, and you thought stuff?
I'm not allowed to swear on the podcast.
No, you're not allowed to. But you can say that ignited some dog in you.
Yeah.
Did that get you fired up? And you thought,
sure.
I'm going to show these oaks.
Yeah, I mean, even like I think the first Gobi Desert, or my first big ultra, the Gobi Desert race, I remember was on that first stage. And I mean, I didn't actually know where I was in the field. I was just like, I started quite conservatively. I knew I was passing a lot of people, and it was only when I got to the final aid station did the aid station crew say, you're doing great, you're in second position. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, no, the guy's just in front of you. And I mean, I remember there like looking for the 4 Desert Series, you'd have your flag on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So I remember just like looking down at my flag and thinking like stuff that like, I'm going to catch the guy in front, even if I can't like run another day afterwards. At least I would have won the first stage. So I mean, there's definitely that part in me.
Say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say there's a dog in me.
There's a dog in me.
Yes. Got it. Good.
So I mean, the same with Leadville, and I mean even. Again, there was a South African family living in Leadville, and you come off the mountain and like hearing he was blowing a vuvuzela. So I mean, even just like small things like hearing that, like familiarity to home, and I mean, just knowing what we've achieved as a country.
Yeah, I love it. That gets me excited. So thanks for that.
Cool.
Okay. Then on fear, what role does fear play, and do you use it, or do you silence it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, essentially, you're always going to have that fear of failure, and I guess the more success you achieve, the bigger the X is on your back, and the more, I mean, kind of the potential not to achieve. And I mean, I think it's important to, like, I think some people are like, no, they don't, like, there's no fear of failure, and it's just like, I'm going to do this. But I mean, I think it's important to recognize it and to kind of use it in the right way. And I mean, for sure, there's definitely at times been a fear of failure that's kept me motivated. And I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think in the mountains, when you talk about fear, I mean, I think like fear and ego, I think like Ryno touched on it. I think it's in the mountains. I mean, even when you're racing, I think it's so important not to have too much of an ego, and really to be able to listen. Like when something goes wrong, to be able to adapt and to like move on quickly, not to, I mean, also just to take responsibility. Like, I mean, if Ryno and I are doing something and something goes wrong, I mean, it would be pointless me trying to blame Ryno and Ryno trying to blame me, and we kind of sitting there and we're pissed off with each other, and I mean, we're not solving the situation. So I think it's so important just to take accountability and move forward as quick as possible, and not let your ego get in the way. I mean, even when it comes to a race, like if the weather turns and you take too long to put on a jacket, I mean, yeah, you can't blame anyone but yourself. So I think, yeah, that's so important just to have that accountability. I don't know if I deviated from the question there.
No, you did well, and you touched on what I was going to ask next, so that's great. How do you bounce back from failure, like a DNF or an injury, without letting it define you? Maybe just I want you to touch on that a bit for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think all failure in life is normal. I mean, if you're not failing, then I mean, I think you're living a way to like secure life, or you're not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're dreaming big enough then. So, I mean, it's either you're always going to have failure along the way. I think it's just important not to let it define you, and try and not see failure as a negative. Just really kind of move forward on it, take the positives out of it, and move forward. And rather, as opposed to seeing it as like a negative and I'm not good enough and people are going to look down on me, to really just say like, cool, I'm human, these things happen, but how can I take this failure and turn it into a positive and move forward as quick as possible.
All right, my next segment was all about family and balance, which you've actually answered a lot of it through just what you've mentioned. But I mean, you've made it very clear that Vanessa plays an incredibly supportive role, which is lovely to see. You've got mad love for your son Max, and you've spoken about how important it is to be present, I get that as a father myself. But probably the one question that I just want to add in there of the three that I have is, how do you balance being, this Ryan, the elite athlete, with being, just, dad at home? Sort of what boundaries do you put in place that you're able to allow yourself to be this chill father figure at home and being the elite athlete?
Yeah, I think luckily, like I said, like I feel like trail running, like I always say, it's not just a sport, like it's my lifestyle now. So I've been, very lucky that Vanessa is so supportive, and she's always been like the most supporting person like throughout my career. And I mean, for sure, it's been incredible that I've been able to share a lot of those experiences with her, and also with Max, and we've traveled to some incredible places. But I mean, also behind the scenes, like kind of there have been the tough moments, and I mean, I can be grumpy when things don't go well. So I mean, it's not all sunshine and roses. But I mean, I just feel like also, Vanessa really enjoys the outdoors. So I mean, and also I think she just really understands me and knows what kind of makes me happy. So I feel that's important, and to have a good understanding and a strong relationship is important. But I mean, having said all that, like again, as I mentioned, like when I started my career, there's no like kind of, this is the manual you need to become a pro athlete. I guess when you become a husband or you have a partner, there's no manual. Being a dad, there's no manual. So I mean, it's definitely like kind of, you learn along the way. But I mean, I think that's the beauty of life, that like nothing's perfect. You're forced to grow and evolve along the way. So I mean, for me, as I said, like maybe earlier on in my career, it was a bit more selfish or more kind of focused on me, where now, I mean, almost like in a selfish way, what kind of gets me excited is to be able to include my family, or to be a professional athlete and to like have a family, not just to kind of live in a box and come out and train and then go back into my box. So I mean, I think having that balance is so important. And I mean, for me, this is my 18th year as a professional athlete, and it's something I'm really proud of, is the longevity. I mean, I think I can put a lot of that down to kind of having a life outside of trail running and not being defined by trail running. I mean, it's become my life, but I never want to be known as Ryan Sands, the person that won Western States or dropped out of UTMB. I'd like rather be kind of Ryan Sands, the husband to Vanessa, or dad to Max.
All right. Well, then I'm going to just quickly come back to your career, because you spoke about longevity.
Yeah.
I'm not your coach, but I would like to see you sort of still being really competitive for the next at least 3 years. I mean, is that your thinking? Or do you believe you got more in the tank? I mean, how are we going to tackle the rest of your 40s? And what do you see yourself doing through your 50s, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's like impossible. I mean, the sport's progressed at a rapid pace, and I mean, looking at the level of athletes and the professionalism over the past like 3 or 4 years, it's really cool to see. But yeah, I mean, there's still, I think for me the big thing is kind of, are there still races that excite me and things that excite me? And yes, there are races that excite me. So yeah, I do still feel I've got a couple more years left in the sport from like competitive racing point of view. But like, having said that, like, I mean, I still want to be a part of the sport for the rest of my life. I love the sport and sport in general, and I feel, I mean, the sport has given me so much. I also want to give back. And at the same time, I'm also passionate about like the business side of sport, and how to make things better and grow things. And Ryno and I have Peak Management, like a sports management company together. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely opportunities beyond just like racing.
Okay, you're going to do something with me as well, and we're going to do some fundraising. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I'll give you 3 years to be competitive, okay. And then you can come try keep up with me. All right, listen, the next two sort of segments are a bit quicker and shorter, but some advice for Pretoria Boys High. If we were to start a trail running club, we've got Volvosprade around the corner, but just some advice that you would maybe recommend to our boys, how to build it up safely for beginners, a trail running club.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big thing, like I said, I think to build a community, try get as many friends to join you as possible, and keep it fun, and then not to do too much too quickly, just rather build up slowly, I think that like a big thing is just kind of consistency, and instead of trying to do one long run, just do 2 or 3 shorter runs a week. Just make it part of your everyday life. And yeah, I mean, also I think I would say like doing outside excursions to Volvosprade and like nearby areas. I mean, I think that's so cool, because I think for me half the fun of trail running is the adventure and the unknown. And I mean, for me there's nothing better than running on a new trail. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Okay, and then just not that we have a lot of mountains, but some safety rules for every teenager at Boys High that he should know before hitting a trail.
Yeah, I guess that my number one rule is just don't be a chop.
Don't be a chop.
No, I mean, I think that just applies to everything. Like stick to the rules. Like I think like something really valuable. My grandfather like instilled me when I was younger, growing up in Cape Town at the ocean. He always said like you got to have such a big respect for the ocean, and I've always taken that after spending more time in the mountains, you got to have like respect for nature. So I mean, what I'm saying is like if you're doing a trail run, like make sure you have enough. You've got like warm weather gear in case. You've got sufficient nutrition. You've told someone where you're going if you're running in an unfamiliar place. Just some of the basics. You've taken a space blanket if you're going slightly further. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're doing like a 2K loop around the school, then I mean you should be a chop. Yeah, you should be fine. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, and I mean I also think a big thing, just if you're on the trails, even at school, just respect the other people on the trails. I know is a big thing. I mean, I know you're running and maybe you're trying to run as fast as possible, but if there's someone walking, kind of say excuse me, get around them, like have manners. Don't just kind of drop your shoulder into their back to get down the mountain as quick as possible.
Okay, and then I've said already the really only place we can run is Volvers, generally speaking. But is there a route in Gauteng that you highly recommend for the guys who maybe want to go adventure further once they get over Volvers? Maybe Ryno, you should.
Yeah, I was going to say Ryno. I was going to say like Magaliesburg, but Ryno is.
I think, we've actually got amazing places. I'm myself spent most of my running at Volverspruit. But in Pretoria, you've got Groenkloof Nature Reserve. You've got, I'm trying to get to, you've got Big Red Barn, you've got Volverspruit, you've got Groenkloof, you've got Moreletta. So there's quite a few options. If you want to go a little bit further, Magaliesburg. If you go to up to Ver Genoeg, if you go to Van Galen's Cheese Farm, all those areas on the ridge are beautiful. If you go to the other side of the dam to the cable car section, then you're up on the mountains within 2 km. So the Magaliesburg, again, don't take it too lightly. It's a proper mountain range, but within 45 minutes from the school, you can be up in the mountains.
Okay. I think we'll start at Volvers for most of our boys. The issue is always going to be transport, and that's where we struggle with the guys. Yeah.
But I think one thing is also like when we talk about adventure, even just like running at night. It's just something completely different, like new and different, which I think is cool.
We've cut the 7K loop now at the school, so that's a good place to start as well. And then you can do that at night, and then we can make our way to Volvers and do some of the night runs there as well. Okay, so then the last bit here is maybe the lightning round, we've called it. Your favorite peak on 13 Peaks route?
Favorite peak would be currently Chapman's Peak.
Chapman's, and for you, Ryno?
Yeah, Chapman's.
Chapman's as well. Okay. One piece of gear you actually need, and one you don't.
One piece of gear you actually like waterproof rain jacket, and gear you don't need. I would say most of the stuff you actually
is there never been something that you've taken and you're like, flip, why did I take this? Why did I pack
No,
this?
there have been lots of often you take something because you think the weather's going to be bad, and then like Murphy's Law, it's boiling hot. But most of the stuff I'm hesitant to say not, because I know how quickly things change. Even, a lot, like you look at mandatory gear in a race and it's like, why do we need all this stuff? But when like things go wrong, it does properly,
Okay, is your go-to trail snack?
Go-to trail snack, mashed potato.
Your mantra on the darkest climb?
Mantra, you're the fool that's got yourself into this.
Okay, so if you could send one message to your 16-year-old self sitting at a school desk, what would you say? You can take your time and think. Yeah, because that's a big one.
Maybe it's a bit like, just like live every day as if it were your last. Or life is short. Like just make the most of it. Like don't put things off until down the line, or say like I only want to travel when I retire, or because you might never get there. So just make the most of life.
Okay, from you, Ryno.
I think one thing I've learned from Ryan is just not to overthink things. You've just got to have a bit of faith that things are going to work out. Sure, prepare as well as possible, have the compulsory gear. But from Ryan's first race, if he actually knew where the Gobi Desert was, for instance, he might not have entered. He only found out after he entered. And everything else we've done ended up being more challenging than we thought, but there's not one of those that we actually regret doing.
Okay. I just want to say to both of you, gentlemen, thank you very much. You've shown us that the mountains just aren't about running. They're about resilience, humility. Came through a lot today, and as well as growth. To the Pretoria Boys, our boys watching, trail running is more than a sport. It's a classroom with no walls. I just wanted to say to Vanessa and Max, thank you for sharing you with us today. We really appreciate it. To Ryno, thank you for joining us and for making this possible. To Andre, thanks for your time and putting it all together. Elsie, thank you for being here as well and making this possible in the absence of Bobby, and we're very grateful to Bobby as well. To Salomon, thank you for making the run this weekend possible. The 7K loop that's been cut at Pretoria Boys High School, we appreciate it, and really looking forward to introducing the Pretoria Boys High community to trail running, and it's a step in the right direction. Ryan, we hope to have you back next year. Maybe you can actually run the loop. It's been great for me to meet you as well. You're a man that I look up to greatly, and I've learned a lot in listening to you today. There's quite a bit I'm going to apply to my swimming and to family, and trying to balance 3 daughters, a wife, while we pursue this trilogy. So I appreciate your honesty. Ryno, thank you again for your humility, and also sharing some insights on Ryan and the expeditions, and sort of I didn't realize how much time the two of you actually spent preparing for the various expeditions, which I should know, but just the amount of time and energy and the risk that goes into it, and the trust that the two of you have in one another, and that you're a diverse and dynamic team. And for me to sit here today in this position has been an absolute privilege, and I hope to spend more time with the two of you. And just thank you so much. Enjoy your flight back to Cape Town.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy training, and all the best with this this journey in which you're on. I want you to remain competitive. I wish you longevity, but more importantly, I want you to be competitive, and I want you to be a dog, and I want to see you succeed, Ryan, and just know that we're very proud of you. And as a South African, for me, I put you on an absolute pedestal. I think you are not spoken about enough. And I told my headmaster when I said, do you know who this man is, when I heard that we were going to have the opportunity to have you speak to the boys, and I really wanted to get you into assembly. And I said, we're looking at a man who's an absolute legend. So I really hope my boys listen to this podcast, and that I know that if they do, and when they do, they'll have a lot to take out of this.
Thanks
and
so
you're going to change lives. And I'll definitely be playing this in my maths lit classroom, and the boys will be listening to it. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Jock. Great to chat. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great. Cool.